starting this episode off by talking about peeing. E and I was, before we pressed record, was talking about in our old age, evidently, we got to go to the bathroom 2 to 3 times a night. We got to go every half hour. I'm going to assume that that is a normal situation. Rhodesia, you are much younger and sprier than us. What is your pee schedule looking like? As much water as you drink, how often do you go to the bathroom?
Well, because I do try to finish one of these the whole day, I probably go every about 45 to 55 minutes.
All right, so we got you beat still by like 20, 25 minutes. All right, so Eshaun did go to the bathroom right before we started. But if you got to go, man, just go. If you got to go, just go. Episode 26 of the TFW podcast. That's freaking wrestling. I am your host, Matt, joined by Rhodesia and Eshaun. Besides going to the bathroom, not being able to get a good night's sleep because we're going to the bathroom, how are you guys doing on this fine day?
So listen, I am so excited. I would say that I single-handedly did it, but I know you would call me out on it. But I finally beat a video game this weekend. It Takes Two. It's been probably a good, I think Gears of War might have been the last video game that I beat or we bought.
And that was 3, not 4 or 5.
I thought it was the first Gears.
3. Oh,
I thought it was the first Gears. Point is, so happy, so excited. We got to see the end credits. I mean, I don't know if other people feel that way. Like when they play a game, seeing them end credits, you wait until it starts all the way back over and you get that logo. So super excited.
Wow, I had no idea that you play video games, to be honest with you. So that's pretty darn cool.
You can't be serious. For real?
Yeah, I know the match play video games. I didn't know you partaked.
Yep.
To be honest with you.
But typically she's on her phone playing the phone games. Getting to like level 20,000.
Yeah.
But it's Lent, so I gave that
fun.
up for Lent. So no phone games for Lent.
Shout out to you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm pretty fair for old square of y'all. But Matt, how are you doing today?
You know what? Thank you for asking. I am doing fantastic. I am in a great mood. We got WrestleMania next week.
Ooh.
So we are counting down the days to that. What else is going on? CM Punk popped back in the news to give us some great content for us to talk to on this episode that was not planned just a couple hours ago. So we'll get into that. So overall, I am feeling pretty good. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's start with Monday Night Raw because that was on Monday. So a few days ago. For me, show had a great beginning, had an incredible ending, and a whole lot of nothing in between. We gave our sugar shits last week. We're not going to do that again this week. We are going to have our WrestleMania preview show loaded early next week because Rhodesia and I will be on a flight out of here early Thursday morning next week, so we won't be recording on our typical Thursday and then dropping on Friday. We'll probably record on Tuesday after Raw to see what the last final hype is besides SmackDown. Drop it for you guys on Wednesday so you guys can have it a couple days early. So we're not going to kind of deep dive anything more than what we did last week with talking about the build, but let's start positive. Let's start with the KO, Sammy, and Usos opening segment. Then we can talk about the final segment on Raw with Roman and Cody. Then I'll kind of get my thoughts and get your guys' thoughts like in between what happened on Raw. But we saw it Friday. We got the hug, and there was a lot of discourse online about they should have saved the hug until WrestleMania. Why would you put the hug on SmackDown when it's 2 weeks out? I thought from jump that was the right call to do. Looked like it was the right call. I got 10 million views on social.
Whoa.
I think it did 2.4 million in viewers on actual SmackDown that Friday night. They knew what they were doing. Right call there. That kind of switches over to Monday Night Raw. We get them setting up the match, and we heard it. Brothers versus brothers. KO and Sammy versus the Usos. Give it to me. What'd you guys think about the segment? And now that we are officially here in that match, any chance you guys are giving the Usos of retaining the belts against KO and Sammy?
Oh my gosh, I just got butterflies just thinking about all of this and how I'm going to feel in that moment. My takeaway from that is Sammy calling out Jay, saying that something along the lines of that the turmoil between him and Roman. And then Jay, I'm sorry, I'm messing up here. Jay pretty much told Jimmy, like, no, we're going to fight them. We're going to fight them. So Jimmy was like so ready to be like, no, I'm straight. I'm good. I don't want to fight them. And then he's like, no, we're going to fight you at WrestleMania. And I just thought that was like another little seed that goes back to when he had told Sammy that I trust you. That just one more thing that he's trying to plant that seed to become the new tribal chief. So that's what I took away from that. And then how, again, Sammy was calling him out. For me, okay, I'm excited about that.
Go back real quick. So so what did you take away from that? You took away
that Jay he's about to infiltrate the bloodline himself, and he's about to blow it up from the inside. Even though it's already blown up, but he's gonna definitely implode it. But it's unique.
He did not. We saw the backstage segment. Roman said, "I love you." Jay didn't say it back.
No, but he also told the chief he also told the wise man he heard what he needed to hear. So we'll see how that plays out.
Pronouns, pal.
Pronouns, pal. Roman. He told Roman. Roman told Paul Heyman, I heard what I needed to hear. And so we know what happened last time I heard that. That was when he's talking about Sammy. And then we saw that the trial came about. So we'll see. But I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that was a really good intro into that. So many layers to this thing, man. Yep. I mean, like, if you think about like this story, I'm gonna touch more into the story when we get to the Cody and Roman segment at the end. But like this Jay thing, man, like if you follow the story, like Jay's been playing the consistent character the whole time. Like from the very start of this bloodline thing, when it just was main event Jay and it was Roman. Mm-hmm. Like it's been the same from the start. And if you look at Jimmy's playing into this too, man. Yo, let's just go into the show. I want to tie it into the last segment because like this bloodline thing is like amazing. But going to the show, so it sounds like Matt, you weren't a fan of most of the show. It was like a book. It's like a book, right? I mean, like a bookmark. It had a strong start, strong finish, but in the middle, it just was like, right? Like to me, to be honest with you, I thought the show was fine.
Okay, well, right, so stop. Let's now we got to timestamp it. We got to stop right here, sir. Every week, he gets on here and says, "Hey, I fast forward through that. I fast forward through that. Oh, I didn't see that part. I fast forward through that." The question this week, Eshaun, how much of Monday Night Raw did you fast forward through?
See, I need the friends and supporters of the show and my family and this podcast to understand that I'm not going to sit through some BS. So if it's something I'm not interested in, I ain't got time for that. I'm going to fast forward through that.
Answer the question. Answer the question.
So how much of the show did you fast forward through? Watch them say 85%, which tells you the show was shit.
Majority of it. Majority of it. I watched majority. I would say.
Oh, he watched the majority.
I would say. So to be honest with you, like here's the problem with Raw, and inherently 3 hours is too long for anything. To be honest with you, I think nowadays with these movies. Like, back in the day, I'm going to go on a small range. Back in the day, like, movies is about an hour and 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Maybe an hour and 45. Now we're getting these 3 hour and 25 minute. That's a long ass time to try to hold someone's attention, right? So this 3 hours is just a long time. The show would be better off if it was 2 hours. For me, I probably watch about 2 hours of the show, to be honest with you.
Okay, so you missed an hour. So imagine if the hour that you missed sucked. Show wouldn't be that great. Right, because you only watched 2/3 of it, 75% of it, whatever the percentage is. I watched all of it. I watched every second, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because, like, I don't. What the fuck? Like, it feels to me.
Let me go ahead and put a note right now.
It feels to me like they are intentionally sabotaging or downgrading the other storylines and builds to make the main ones feel even better.
Now, do you think that they're sabotaging it, or do you just think that maybe like the bloodline just has it on lock? Like they're the main ones, they just have it, and it's genuine where they're taking all the energy from it.
Okay, sabotage is the wrong word. You wouldn't sabotage your own stuff. Mm-hmm. Maybe mailing it in. Maybe they feel like, because when we looked at the card, we know these matches are going to hump come next weekend. We know for a fact. The matches that have not had the best build, when you get them in the ring, bell to bell, we're going to be looking back at it like, man, that was another great match. Man, that was another great match. Man, that was a fantastic match. Man, that match was WrestleMania worthy. Outside of the Bloodline-related storylines, and I would also throw in Drew, Sheamus, and Gunther. I think they've done a really nice job with that. And yeah, we
Old
know
school.
they've had some
Yep.
they've had some curveballs with Bobby and Bray and Brock and Omos. I get that. So I'm throwing those two matches out. The rest of it, I didn't want to start here, but I guess we can start here and we'll get back to the finale of Raw in a second. I said it last week. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with Bianca and Asuka. They had another opportunity Monday. It was just as bad.
Yeah.
They put no extra heat on that match. I thought on SmackDown Friday, Charlotte and Rhea, I thought they had a pretty strong pull apart. But in order for that match to allegedly go on last night one, you got to put a lot more fire on that feud and that storyline than that.
Because for like real talk, Rhea is so over. She's just so over. So I think we heard a couple bit of chants even SmackDown night that they were chanting for Rhea over Charlotte. So that's going to be so interesting to see how they play that out.
On Monday, they put her in there with another heel. It was her and Bayley, 1-on-1.
Yeah,
snaps.
They sure did.
Yeah.
So right before you guys continue the promo you guys are cutting, what I'm about to say about the show, it being fine, right?
Okay.
I feel like a show 2 weeks before Mania should be more than fine. Right, and that would be an issue. I would take one like this. The show itself was fine, like I said, but you would think it's 2 weeks before Mania that they would be coming out with guns a-blazing. Like stuff is like hot. Like each segment, matches, everything is like just on fire. It's just going. I didn't feel that way. This felt like this. If you take out the intro and the outro of this show, and you couldn't put this anywhere in the year, right? And it would have been fine there, right? But 2 weeks before your biggest card. Like, wow. And then going back to the Rhea thing, like, I don't know what they're doing creatively with her because, yeah, she's over, as Rhodesia said, but they got her in the ring against, like, the hated heels, Bayley. Like, what's going on with her match? It seems like the creative outside of the Bloodline thing is a little wonky, right? Like, I don't know if they're making changes. Damn it, is Vince back? Like, because some strange stuff's happening right now.
You know, I thought that a couple of times, and I made it a point that I am not going to use that as a crutch of anything. Something is horribly wrong. That's the first thing that pops in my mind. I'm going to just try to say, like, no, he's not. Maybe he's still giving some input. Maybe they're using some of it. But some of this stuff just doesn't make sense. Look at the Logan Paul-Seth segment. And you guys know I am super high on that match. I said that is the match that is going to be in all the video packages for years to come about this WrestleMania. They're going to do something in that match that is going to be all over social media, et cetera, et cetera. That was another really poor segment. It just, I mean, watching it, I'm just like, man, this isn't great. But they made up for it in the final segment for sure. That's why I said I wonder if their thought is, hey, we've already sold 62,000 seats, per night for Mania. The ratings kind of are what they are. Raw is getting anywhere between 1.7 to 1.9 viewers. SmackDown is always over 2 million. Okay, hey, we kind of got it locked in. Let's just make sure that the highs are really, really high, and then kind of everything else is what it is. That's what I would think. We'll see this week. We got SmackDown this weekend, and then we got Raw and SmackDown next week. I don't want to throw. Of course, we got to remember they're doing a great job with Ray and Dom. That's not official for WrestleMania, but that is something they're doing really well with. So I don't want to understate that. But these women matches, man, like somebody said on Twitter to me a couple days ago that Vince did a better job booking women than Triple H is doing. And at first I laughed and was like, man, absolutely not. Then I got to thinking, I still don't think so. But if you look at the matches, Charlotte Rhea, not happy with that booking. Asuka, Bianca, not happy with that booking. The 6-women tag, nothing of excitement or relevance, in my opinion, happened on Monday. And then they're doing a cluster match like they're doing with the guys to get some more talent on the show, which is great for them. So shout out to that. I'm happy for that. But
hey, but let's go back to that Bianca and Asuka. They finally did something that makes sense from a storyline perspective. At least, I don't know if you want to say that Asuka finally turned, but at least she showed some aggression, right? And kind of did a sneak shot and a sneak attack on Bianca to kind of put some spice. And they'll probably try to, on the go-home show, you'll probably see a little bit more. But to be honest, they should have been there 2 weeks ago.
Weeks ago.
Weeks
yeah.
ago.
Like, Asuka should be going into this thing as the minted heel a long time ago. I feel like they dropped the ball on recreating that character to something else as soon as the debut. Because I keep telling you guys, like, I don't see the difference with the two characters. She's cut her hair and wears different makeup now. That's for me. But this is a good turning point, at least for that feud for me.
And I think when you talk about like the turning point, it made me think about it when y'all were talking about the Judgment Day. I'm wondering, maybe with the exception of Dom and Damian, if you look at, well, to me, on Raw, did you not feel like Edge's promo was kind of heelish? I mean, besides the fact he called himself the devil, I felt like that was a real heel promo. So if you're turning, Rhea face, you kind of had her in that match for Bayley that I forgot about it. And now people love Finn and now Edge cutting this devil promo. Is it possible that we're looking at Judgment Day turning face?
It's a possibility, especially with the prospect of Backlash being in Puerto Rico. We know Damian's going to get a huge response from the crowd.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I guess that's possible.
Damian.
You brought up, Damian Priest.
Oh, Priest.
Yeah, that is his name, right?
That's his name, Damian Priest. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Dominic for a minute.
No.
Dominique. No, I ain't talking about Dominique Wilkins.
Wilkinson.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see with that.
But was the Edge promo pretty killish?
I didn't think the promo was good. That's why I smiled when you brought it up.
Damn.
I didn't. For one, it looked like it was recorded on a 2004 Android. I don't know what that was supposed to be, but whatever it was, that wasn't it. iPhone 3.
See, you're not a fan of you're not a fan of the Judgment Day Edge. I thought the video was fine. I thought it was pretty cool.
Okay. You think it added to their feud, or after watching it, you were just kind of like, I could have took it or what is it? Take it or leave it. I could have took it or left it.
No, I see what they're trying to do with that feud, right? Because you think about Edge and Finn, they've wrestled numerous times. Mm-hmm. They're trying to add some different things to kind of spice it up a little bit, right? Now you got Finn talking about like, hey, you can't handle my demons, right? So now we're thinking maybe the Judgment Day version of the demon might show up at Mania and Hell in a Cell. All right, bet. Now we got Edge. Hey, yo, I'm bringing a different side of me to this match as well. Like, I like what he said. Like, and I think that's what I thought that was really interesting. He said, he's like, look, like this is me being socially acceptable. Like, right? Like, I'm getting that cage. I'm gonna be uncaged. I'm gonna be an animal. I'm gonna be a different person myself. So they're both saying I'm going into this match being a different version of me. It's gonna be sadistic. It's gonna be violent. So I kind of feel at least they're trying to do something different with those characters, bring a different dynamic to it.
Okay. No, and I am excited for their entrances because I do think we get the Brood Edge, and of course we're going to get the Demon Finn. I think that is going to be pretty cool to see. Yep, both of those.
That'd be awesome.
Before we go back to the main segment on Raw, I was talking about the females. I do want to shout out.
Wait, real quick. Hey, if Gangrel comes out with them, come on, forget about it.
I mean, I will be there for that. I would absolutely be there for that. As I said, I want to shout out two women. We were just talking about the women that's not being booked. But one, I want to shout out Alexa Bliss. She announced a couple days ago on Twitter that she's over skin cancer. She had skin cancer, and she is 100% healed from that. So shout out to her. Super happy that she's healthy and hopefully happy. We see her back soon. And then Zelina Vega. Being able to see Zelina, one, in the ring last Friday against Rhea, and just to see her as a face. I don't think she's been a face in WWE that I can remember. Oh. Not in a prominent role. So,
I was gonna say, I think she for a half a second, but she probably was with other people, other faces. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was never anything, because when she won the Queen, Selena, she went completely, whatever face she was, she became a heel after that. So, but I think I saw her as a good girl a little bit for a hot second.
But yeah, but shout out to her. I think she's got some big plans. Once again, going to Puerto Rico in May. She should be in a big spot. And then just overall with her being with Santos, I think they have her pegged for a pretty big 2023. So I wanted to shout those two ladies out. So let's get to the ending of Raw, which was everything that I hated about the show. It was more than made up for it with Roman and Cody. I'll get your guys' thoughts, and I'll kind of tell you guys what I think after I hear what you guys thought about it.
They said to hell with what Rhodesia on That's Freakin' Wrestling said. I said I didn't want to see them in the ring again before Mania. And what happened?
Yeah, I told you that wasn't
in the ring. they get in the ring and they get to the talking, but they get 5 stars from that promo. I loved it. The mean ass Cuban mama, like, come on, like when Cody dropped that right there, like we know if your mama's mad, you have a whole new fire under your ass at that point. But overall, really, really, really good stuff there. So even though I did say that I didn't want to see them again, I'll eat my words and admit I was wrong. I was really happy to see that.
Yeah, it was an awesome segment. Roman was trying to cut him, right? I thought it was gonna be like a repeat.
He did.
Hey, I thought it was gonna be another like lopsided like promo, kind of like Roman got into him like last time. Because Cody cuts these great promos, but hey, Roman's taking a page out of John Cena. He's like cutting these dudes deep, right? And he's doing like the work stuff a little bit differently to where it makes sense to everybody. You ain't just flying over everybody's head. You got to be inside because everybody remembers Stardust, right? And now, and maybe people might not know what he did in AEW, but he's telling a story about, look, this is what this dude did. That didn't work out. Now he ran away and came back to that. I thought it was an awesome promo, but I love that Cody came back with some fire. I think that's what he's been missing was that fire. Like, hey, look, bro, I'm gonna beat your ass come WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to hear. Like, hey, I get it. We doing it for our daddies, Cody. We doing it for Dusty, and we doing it for Sonny. I get that, but also, I'm doing it to his ass. I'm beating that ass all day long. Come WrestleMania. That's
cannot
what we
wait
need
to clip that. Eshaun saying, "I'm doing it to that ass." I cannot wait.
Doing it to that ass. I'm beating it all day long.
Love it. Love it.
That will be
so I thought that was a great promo,
social
man.
Medias tomorrow. So we did that. So all right, the promo's over, show's over. Did either one of you have any different feelings about the match and or the finish come WrestleMania because of that segment?
I don't think so. No, but this whole bloodline, everything is almost like I don't want to have any preconceived notions going into it or have how it's going to end because I'm just so enjoying the ride. It would feel like I'm sabotaging my own fandom right now. Like I'm just let me see how this plays out.
No, same here. Like, but for me, like I've kind of felt the same way from day one. I still don't really know who's going to win. I believe Cody will win.
Okay.
But also there's a chance that Roman can win, right? And that's like I told you before, like it's hard to be a wrestling fan and try to be on the dirt sheets and online. You get so much of the backstage stuff. You try to predict what things are going. So with Roman, it's like, okay, Roman needs to get his 1,000 days as champion. Like, is that a big deal? Do we need to get there? But also, like, it'll be a huge moment to end that show, to end that weekend, to have a baby face going over with the title over his head. Like I don't know if I would end the WrestleMania with a heel going over. And we know anything about Vince back in the day. And look, Vince is a different animal, but Triple H did study underneath him, right? You always send the people home happy, right? So what does that look like? So it's just a lot of different variables. But for me personally, I want to see Cody win, but I'm not sure he will.
I'm going to say a hot take, though, real quick.
Your hot take
I think
is what?
Cody's going to get booed at Raw after Mania. And that's when it's going to start.
I don't think that
Let's make a bet. Let's make a bet.
We can bet anything you want to bet.
Okay.
I'm in on this bet. Yeah, I'm in on this.
Yeah, he's not getting booed. 0% chance. He gets booed.
And I'm saying he's going to get booed at Raw after Mania.
Yeah, no. Unless
why would he get booed, though?
Because Raw after Mania is like that. And I think that the wrestling fans, including myself, we are very, very fickle. And I'm telling you, I'm still surprised about the pop that he gets now. And I know that's going to be short-lived. So if you put the belt on him, he's going to get booed. Maybe if he doesn't win, he may not get booed. But I guarantee you he's getting booed on Raw after Mania.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I think the only worry I would have, and I don't even have a worry, but if I had to worry about something with Cody, it is, can he still be this hot not going against Roman? But I have a feeling they've done everything perfect with him so far that whoever his next challenger is going to be is the right challenger to keep him hot. That would be what I would say I'm worried about. Like, he's getting these incredible ovations now, but it could be because he's going against the hottest heel in the company. We know how that goes. Heel needs a face needs a heel. We'll see after that. But to your point, this was the first week that I thought to myself that Roman could lose. Never thought about that. You guys have heard me week in and week out talk about He's not losing. This is the reason why, et cetera, et cetera. And what I loved about the promo was it really wasn't anything that Cody said that he's going to do to Roman, right? Typically, you get the big babyface promo. He still has a chance to do his call to arms promo either Monday or next Friday, the day, 2 days before his match at Mania, where it's hey, we got to do it together. I'm doing it for this. This is the reason why. Hey, let's all go be happy and let's do it. He didn't give us that. But what he did give us was, when you lose these belts, this is what's going to happen to you. And the picture he painted,
talk to him,
was something where I was like, you know what? All right, Roman, I need you to drop these titles because we got to get to that. We got to get to Jay leaving. And then we got to get to Jimmy leaving. And we saw Solo. His name is Solo for a reason. Like, he don't listen to nobody. He does what he wants to do. And Roman, I think, noticed and saw for the first time at the end of Raw, like, I don't really control him.
Nope.
And that's a worry. That I think that's a problem. I did think that, just for what I like in promos, I did think Roman handily took care of Cody, bringing up, AEW, just, him talking, just the way, Roman just gives you that confidence as a heel, like, couldn't get over and you ran. Then you get over here and what happened? Your body gave out on you, like just that kind of stuff. He was talking more of a backstage, quote unquote, personal piece, but Cody's piece was strictly stated to the storyline, except for the line where if I hear my dad's name again, I'm gonna vomit. Like, he's not coming back. I love that. I thought that was awesome. But
and he put the line in and saying, like, stop talking about my daddy. Like, stop. Like,
and I love that because it's done now.
Mm-hmm.
Watch nobody else bring him up. Like, even in the next feuds going forward, I think that was, all right, we've used my dad enough. Now it's about me. Even bringing up, Dustin. Dustin ain't going to be here. Dustin's AEW, right?
I think Dustin just had a grandbaby or is about to have a grandbaby or something like that.
Shout
Congratulations,
out to,
Dustin.
Dakota,
yeah.
With the baby, yep. But I thought it was excellent. I thought Cody painted a fantastic picture, even down with Heyman, right? Talking about he becomes an advocate again. I just thought it was.
Oh, dude, I lost it when I heard that.
I thought it was perfect. As soon as that show was over, I was like, you know what, man? I'm ready. I'm ready for the next segment of this story because I think this next segment of the story is going to blow away anything we've seen in the last 2.5 years.
Ain't that some ish? I mean, like, we've been like enjoying such a ride, and you even just said that you think it's going to even go even more. I
do. So I am excited for Mania.
Hey, but listen, that's what I want to talk to you guys about.
Mm-hmm.
Is this damn story, and this is exactly what you talked about. That picture that Cody has been painting. This is what I was telling you about with Roman anyway, because like he doesn't necessarily need the championships to go to that story, which is going to be the internal bloodline feud, right? And you think about this storyline, it's not just Jay that has some issues. Jimmy planted a little seed, I think it was last week as well on SmackDown, right? He's talking about like, I had to sit here and answer for all this, like it's my fault. Right. And so it sounded like he was getting mad that he was in the situation that Roman was putting him in. Right.
Yep.
And so you see Roman, sit back and kind of look at him in the corner of his eye like, all right, where are you going with this? And then Jimmy said, it's Sammy's fault.
Yeah. Right back to Sammy. I was like, oh, here we go.
Right back to Sammy. Right. Yeah, so you can see
his entire statement was about Roman.
Seriously, I'm like, whoa, like he's about to get swung on. I'm like, is he really doing this to Roman?
Jimmy started going in. That's why I'm like, oh, this is really interesting, right? And he made it about Sammy, right? You talk about Jay, right? Jay has been bumping heads with Roman from the very beginning, right? That line that he's not feeling Uzi, right? And he's like, well, the tribal chief wants us to get along. I don't give a damn what tribal chief wants. He don't give a damn what the tribal chief wants, right? That's been him for the beginning. I remember when Jay and Roman were feuding to start this whole thing. Roman whispered in his ear, I love you. Jay said, I hate you. Yeah. He's kept that same energy this entire time.
Well, and then even on Monday in the backstage where he basically said like, maybe backstage, I can't remember if it was in the ring or not, where he said like, I'm just here for like Jimmy. Like
Basically.
that's why I'm back. It's for my brother. Nothing to do with Roman at all whatsoever. It's all about my brother. So,
and that's why Roman
wait.
doesn't need the championships to tell that story. And for me, I just got to tell y'all something right now. I don't know if we want to get into it right now or later, but this is probably, I got to say, my top 3 favorite storylines, this Bloodline thing that I've ever experienced as a wrestling fan. I want to say like my number 1 was Hogan and Savage.
Okay.
But I think this might be up there, and I might be recency bias. That's why I want to say top 3. But right now, I want to say it's my favorite because this thing's been going on for almost 2.5 years, and we still got another 6 months of storytelling. I bet if this WrestleMania thing was happening right now, I bet Sammy still will be in the Bloodline telling more story, and because I feel like they kind of put that in the microwave a little bit because he had to get to Mania. But for me, I think it's in my top 3. I want to say it's my favorite storyline I've ever experienced as a wrestling fan.
I'm almost ready to say it is my top of all times. Because remember, for Hogan and Savage, I think you just said I wasn't watching wrestling at that time. So if I go back to watch it back on the WWE Network back in the day, it still ain't the same when you're watching it first run, being a kid watching it, and those emotions that came with it. Because we've seen it, what happens after that. So for me, this might be maybe my top storyline. But hell, it's an amazing storyline. So I'm not ashamed to say that.
I mean, if you think about the layers that this storyline has, I can't think of another storyline that has lasted this long that is this layered. Like you can keep pulling the onion back and keep pulling it back and keep pulling it back and keep pulling it back. And there's a ton there still. I'll have to think. That's a good one. Maybe we revisit that next week on our WrestleMania preview show. I mean, as a kid, nothing really beat Hogan Warrior just because it was we never saw face versus face matches. And back then, of course, we didn't know inside lingo like that. It was good guy versus good guy. That never happened. So for it to be at WrestleMania, oh my God. I think, NWO is significant. We can't forget about that. I mean, it's been so much. But yeah, I think this is easily, if you took MJF and Punk out of the equation, this would be by far easily the top storyline in the last 10 years. And I only bring up the Punk and MJF storyline because we know they weren't done. Brawl out happened, his injury happened, so imagine if something happened with, Roman where his legs got cut out up under him for some reason a year and a half ago and they had to stop the storyline. It looks completely different. But yeah, I got to think about that. That could be maybe my best. So, hey, if you guys are listening, watching, let us know. Hit us up. Hit us up on Twitter at That's FNW. Leave a comment on YouTube. Is this your guys' favorite of all time storyline? And if it's not, what one is you feel like is better than this? Speaking of WrestleMania, Rich, who was a friend of the show, shout out to him. He sent me a question a few days ago, and I wanted to ask you guys. He was listening to last week's show, and he kind of was thinking about, if he could go back to one WrestleMania that he didn't attend or he didn't go to that he would want to, which one is that, and why? So he kind of presented that question to me. I was like, that's a really good question. We'll talk about that on the pod. So you guys know Rhodesia and I have been blessed to, I think this year is be like number 12, I think, WrestleManias we've gone to, 12 or 13. He's been to a few of them as well. So we've gone to a lot of WrestleManias. But of course, we haven't been to all 39 of them. So I have mine already. It's probably super easy to figure out what mine would be. But Rhodesia, I'm gonna ask you. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you first. If you go back to any WrestleMania, even if you weren't watching wrestling yet, maybe you heard about it, maybe you watched it, was like, man, I wish I was there. You didn't attend. Which one did you wish you could go to, and then the reason why?
That question changed a little bit as you were asking it, because you said it could have been something that before I was watching. But I'm still going to have to go back to what my heart says. And the reason why is WrestleMania was not so much WrestleMania, but so much of the Hall of Fame. And the only one I would go back to would be last year's, because that was the induction of The Undertaker into the Hall of Fame. That's a great one. Wow. And so I've always, because again, I have been first world problems, so blessed, so grateful. I would never, ever take it for granted I've been to pretty much every WrestleMania as an adult that I wanted to go to. And I didn't go last year. And I remember always saying that when Undertaker retired, that I will be there, because remember, he never broke character. He was always the Undertaker. And I've always wanted to see this other side of Mark Calloway. So I said I would never, ever miss his Hall of Fame induction, which I did. But us being able to see it after SmackDown and the way he did it, I call it like a pastor, almost like of a mega church. It was just so cool.
E was something a few weeks ago. Yeah, Preacher Mark up there. Killing
big time, killing it. So for me, it would be, because I have been so blessed to been to so many WrestleManias. It would probably be seeing Undertaker getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and that's not even WrestleMania. So hopefully that's a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's your answer. So.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna ask that question, and I really don't have a favorite mania like that. But if I can go back and maybe experience one, it might be Hawk versus Warrior. Now, storyline wise, I really enjoy. I like the Savage and the Hawk with Elizabeth and all that. Like, that just really hit for me. Okay. But I was a huge Warrior fan back in the day as well. I was still a huge Hawk fan as well back in the day. So just to see two huge fan favorites, going at it, that was a really, really, really great match. I would love to experience it live. I was looking at the rest of the card. We got Rick Rude versus Jimmy Snuka. I wouldn't want to see that, actually. Big Boss Man versus Akeem. My kids love to see Big Boss Man in action. They love the Big Boss Man. They love that he's from Cobb County, Georgia.
Okay, Ray Trailer.
Yeah, they love that. Like, we're from Cobb County, Georgia. Ted DiBiase versus Jake Roberts. Jim Duggan versus Dino Bravo. The Orient Express versus the Rockers. Dusty Rhodes is on this bad boy with Sapphire. Y'all remember when he had
Sweet
Sapphire?
Sweet Sapphire, of course.
Man, I can't believe finding out as a adult later on that was supposedly a rib or something. They said, "Oh, Dusty Rhodes," because that whole thing worked for me. I love Dusty.
His whole character in WWE was a rib. The polka dots and everything. Vince did that basically on purpose.
And I loved it.
Now go get over it. And hey, what do you know? He got
it over.
Over. Yep.
The Barbarian versus Tito Santana. I wouldn't want to see that either. The Hart Foundation versus the Rostovitz. Nikolai Volkov and Boris Zugov.
No, you can't just go through that and act like you said the right name. We can't move on from the pod until you say, because I don't even know who you're talking about. Who is that, sir?
It was Nikolai Volkov and Boris I said his name correctly the first time. Now you got me caught up. Zukovic.
Okay. I remember
Roddy Piper versus Bad News Brown. Brutus Beefcake with Mr. Perfect. Earthquake versus Hercules. Demolition versus the Colossal Connection. Andre and Haku. Rick Martel versus Coco Beware. Paul Roma versus Brooklyn Brawlers. So the actual lineup itself is kind of spotty a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. But as I'm going through it, it kind of reminds me of the WrestleMania that we currently have, right? This was solely built on that main event, right? I don't know what the second most popular feud on this thing would have been, but it definitely was heavily about that main event. I would love to see it.
Okay. I went with 17. As much as I would love to have been there for 3 with Hogan and Andre, as much as I would love to have said, hey, I was at the first ever WrestleMania, but I got to go 17. Rocking Austin on top. Of course, you guys know, Austin is my GOAT. But I've never watched him in Toronto.
Real quick, that's Phoenix, right? 17 was Phoenix, right?
No, 17 was Houston, wasn't it?
Oh, nuts. I'm thinking of Phoenix. Okay, never mind.
Yep. The Reliant Astro?
Yeah. Yep. You had Rock and Austin on top. You had Taker and Triple H, which that match was off the charts intense. You had the TLC match, which is probably my favorite TLC match of all time on that show. That show is, of course, widely considered as just the best WrestleMania of all time. But that's probably the one I would have gone to if I could change now. Say, I could pick anyone. It would have been that one for sure. Last thing I have for WWE, and then I'll throw it to you guys. If you guys got anything you need to bring up around WWE, is Naomi put on her social medias today that she's going to be at WrestleCon, WrestleMania weekend, which is, if you don't know, it's like a meet and greet convention. Somebody in her comments hit her with, hey, are you still with WWE? Her response was no. So she is no longer a part of WWE. Thoughts?
I thought I was led to believe that she wasn't currently at all part of WWE when they walked out. I always thought that she would be coming back to WWE, but as far as like contracts, I thought once you walk out on your contract, like that was done. But I also don't want to talk out both sides of my neck because I still think that she is coming back to WWE, but this is my first time hearing this. Hopefully she can get into something else that she wants to do if she doesn't want to be in wrestling anymore. I don't want to see her in AEW. If she stays in wrestling, I want her to come back to WWE if she's welcome there. But if not, I hope that she goes on and do what she wants to do in her life. Maybe if it's a family, if she wants to have her own family, or if it's modeling or
You're
acting.
always trying to get somebody to have a kid. You got to chill out on that.
No, I said if they want to. No, I've always said if they want to.
Because
you know how I feel about kids.
You watch somebody,
you know how I feel about
you always
kids.
be like, I wonder why they ain't had kids yet. I wonder why she ain't pregnant yet. You got to relax on that.
Yeah, but
Everybody
if they
don't
want to.
kids.
I've always said that. I've said if they want to have a kid or if they want to. Some people can, some people don't want to. I know I didn't want to have another kid, so
stop putting that energy on everybody else then. Chill out.
Wow.
E.
I wanted a little. I got two baby boys, but I'd love to have like a little princess.
I would too.
Ishana?
Ooh,
no. Oh God.
No.
Oh God.
You know what? We're just gonna stop the entire conversation at that point.
Yes.
I'm done on WWE before we move on to
move.
AEW. Y'all got anything else you want to bring up around WWE?
I just still want to see a great SmackDown this Friday. I almost said this Sunday.
This Sunday?
This Friday. I want to see a good SmackDown.
Well, remember they got 2 left, right? So we got this week, and then we got, of course, the go home show.
Yeah. And the Hall of Fame is still with SmackDown, right?
Yes.
That's the thing. Okay. Is it going to be aired on TV right afterwards? Do we know? Okay.
Unfortunately, Batista's not going to be inducted. He's doing a movie out the country, which sucks. I'm like, oh, that's going to be perfect. We'll be able to go see it. But, yep, he is not being inducted this year.
Dang.
Yep. Eshaun, are you still gravitating to thinking about having a daughter, or are you done with the WWE conversation?
Oh, I'm done with it. But just Naomi, I kind of agree with Rhodesia. You know, it might be time for her to have a little oos.
See, y'all gotta stop this.
You know, might be time
Why
for her
If she wants it. If she wants it.
Thing.
If she wants it.
If she wanted it, she would have had it already. She's been gone for like.
That's not true. No, but that's not true. That's not true. We know too many people, male and female, but mainly female, that they put their careers in front of having a family. And so when you have that opening of having a kid,
that's what she's been doing for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Jimmy has some children, or at least a child.
I think he has. Yeah.
But maybe she wants to have her own biological child. Maybe. If not, go be a model. Huh?
Are y'all finished or y'all done?
Both. BLFU1.
AEW. Let's first shout them out. Pre-sale tickets went on sale yesterday for Forbidden Door, and it looked like they basically sold the whole damn arena out in 1 hour.
Nice.
Very nice to see that. They have some strong sales on Double or Nothing. Also in Vegas, which went on sale last week. They have second level, but they're basically all sold out on the floor in first level.
Good stuff.
And yeah, they basically sold out wherever they are in Canada, Toronto, for Forbidden Door. So congrats to them. They've already crossed $1 million during the pre-sale. That's big business. So love to see that. CM Punk. After CM Punk, we'll talk about Vikingo, which was super cool to see, like, people on Twitter who hadn't seen his work yet kind of just go crazy last night. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about FTW and their contract situation, where we would like to see them at, because allegedly the contract is still up come April. So we'll see what that looks like. And then I got to bring up Goldberg, the possibility of Goldberg in AEW. Let's get to CM Punk. So earlier today, CM Punk puts on Instagram, and I know Rhodesia, you hadn't seen this yet. I don't know if you've seen this or not. So there was some talk on Meltzer's show, I think today or yesterday, around something, I don't know, whatever. So he says a long post. He says, sigh. So like, I wasn't cleared to come back to wrestle yet. Then plan was to wrestle at the pay-per-view. I sat and listened to Moxley's Rocky 3 idea. I explained how I'd never seen a Rocky movie. I thought the idea sucked, but if the boss wanted to do it, whatever. He said he wouldn't lose to me. So I'm guessing he means Moxley. I'd never experienced someone refusing to lose to me. I just laughed. I asked Tony if this was what he wanted. He said yes. He's the boss, so I said okay, but I'd need to be cleared first. I'm assuming he's talking about his injury. They kept saying it could just be a squash, so I didn't need to be cleared. I scoffed at that. My health is more important. Dave Meltzer is a liar. Jericho is a liar and a stooge. There were plans, but plans always change, but I'll never put a company above my health ever again. So to summarize, Lord, according to CM Punk, he was not cleared in that AEW match on Dynamite where Mox squashed him in 3 minutes. Allegedly, Mox said he wouldn't put Punk over, but then he put Punk over at the pay-per-view. And he's never watched a Rocky movie. What is that about? Like, come on, Phil, you gotta be better than that. How have you not watched that Rocky movie? I'll ask you guys. 1, do you believe this? And 2, if everything he's saying is legit, he wasn't cleared. They had the match. He didn't get cleared for the pay-per-view until evidently after that match. And Moxley stated that, hey, I'm not putting you over, but he puts him over a week and a half later at the pay-per-view.
This too much.
It's very strange. It's very strange.
TEW, MUCH. Did too much. The most important one I'm going to leave for last. The not wanting to lose, to go over. Again, I think that happens probably a lot, especially probably in the olden days too in wrestling. So I'm not going to get caught up too much into that.
She said the olden days.
The getting uncleared. We know that was a sensitive subject because that was kind of the demise of him in WWE. So again, if that's how he feels, if that's legit, then so be it. But the most important thing is, how you not see Rocky? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, I give you the creeds.
Maybe he's seen the creeds.
I doubt
he's
it.
Seen the creeds.
Because then I would have counted Rocky and Creed 1 and 2 as part of Rocky. So how did you not see any of that? Like, come on. Like, so for me, that's my biggest takeaway out of all of that. Like, dude, go back and watch a Rocky movie. If you did, you probably actually wouldn't have got into that confrontation issue with Mox. You probably would have let him get over without any issues if you actually watch one of the Rockies.
Wow.
Man, there's a lot going on backstage at that company, and it seems like CM Punk was at the head of a lot of that. It's a lot, because it was a toxic working environment, at least while he was there. I'm not sure what was the cause of it, if he was the cause of it, but certainly while he was there interacting, whoever he was interacting with, it seemed kind of toxic. And like you said, it doesn't make sense that Mox wouldn't put him over, but actually ended up putting him over. But to Punk's take, like, that match was kind of stupid. I like that when he got squashed. I'm not sure why they did it, what was supposed to be done, if there was a compromise in place, but the whole thing seemed kind of wonky. It feels like one of those things that I talk about. They do a lot of things just for that show, just for the moment. Like, they're looking for just for like a pop or something just to come out of the show that people can talk about. And I think maybe not,
just to be fair, because he did say at the end of his rant, plans change. So that tells me then that wasn't the original plan. I mean, there's just a lot that we don't know in there. And of course, I'll let you finish. But for him to say that Mox said he wouldn't put me over. I asked Khan, is he good with this? He said yes. They do the match. He wasn't a fan of that match. They still have the match at the pay-per-view, and he gets the belt. Why are you bringing this up now?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Meltzer brought it up. Okay,
so do you know exactly what Meltzer said?
Yeah, I had the context. I thought you had it. Give me a second. I'll pull it up.
Okay.
But as what I was saying, so like whatever the plan that Mox had around the Rocky, I don't really know how the two related. Do you get the Rocky like storyline? Did it make sense?
Yeah, but
what
basically
happened?
it's you lose and then you come back to win. It's kind of one of those fight from underneath type stories.
Is this
the
Antonio Tarver one or no?
No,
that's Rocky
Balboa.
Balboa. Yep,
it's Rocky Balboa.
So that's another Rocky movie that I forgot. So come on, CM Punk. Sorry, go ahead. I guess he's still pulling up.
Yeah. So Dave said, "Do you know why?" Well, this is I'm actually reading a paragraph here. It says originally posted by Dave. Do you know why they didn't advertise Punk versus Moxley longer and why it had a short build? Because Punk agreed to it. Then AEW got a legal letter saying he wasn't down with it and wasn't doing it if they didn't know. I'm not sure this is how he spoke, but this is how it's written.
And that's why I didn't know what, because like I saw that, I was like, I'm not reading that. Like I don't.
Then AEW got a legal letter saying he wasn't down with it and wasn't doing it. It then didn't know if he'd come until Tony put his foot down. There are a lot of nice things I can say about him, and you can absolutely argue his position on Moxley was correct, but you can't agree he willingly did what he was asked in that scenario. And then that's when CM Punk replied.
Hell, so I thought HR was a thing. He went and got a legal letter out.
Okay, so I guess to summarize that, he's saying that Punk wasn't cleared and was thinking about not showing up to the venue, but then he decided to do business while not being cleared.
Yeah, strange. But it's also strange that if he wasn't clear, given his history, that they would ask him to, be in that match in the first place.
Oh, you know what? Maybe, and this isn't good, because you still shouldn't ask somebody to work if they're not cleared.
Yep.
But he did get squashed. He only threw one move, and that was it. Maybe they did that to get the belt off of Punk, and if he was not cleared over the next few days, they could go in a different direction for the pay-per-view.
I can see why they would ask for him to do that.
That would make sense.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I didn't think that storyline or whatever they're trying to tell, I don't think it hit the way it was supposed to hit. I think Punk might have been correct in doing it. I think it was a bad idea. Here's the thing about that show. We've been talking about WWE's creative, like on WrestleMania. I mean, on Raw. Like they need some help. Like a lot of these storylines that these wrestlers create, like they're just as bad as us sometimes. Like with this stuff, they need somebody to help kind of flesh this stuff out and make it palatable on our TVs. Like if this is the ideas they get and putting on TV, man, like I got an injured dude. Let's put him in the ring, 3-minute squash match. Then I'm gonna lose, or maybe he wasn't supposed to lose on Saturday. Maybe it's supposed to be a squash match and he's gonna lose again at a pay-per-view. Who knows? But it seemed kind of wonky.
That's what I'm saying. Remember, it was a week and a half. So they had the Dynamite on that Wednesday. They had another Dynamite, which was that next Wednesday, was where he cut that big promo about, I need the entire Chicago with me. We're going to take them on. Because remember, we didn't have the main event 4 days before that show. So now they're kind of talking through this a little bit. I still don't think somebody should be in the ring if they're not cleared. No. But that would make sense to me why they went with that storyline. The thing that's a little finicky, though, to me is, maybe, okay, all right, I'm starting to get it now. If Mox is saying, you're not going to squash me, I'm cleared, I'm good. You're the one that's not cleared to work. That's why we're doing this match on Dynamite to get the belt off of you. I guess why would Mox then lose to Punk? I guess that would make sense. Yeah. So that could be where Mox's thing of like, I'm not losing to you on Dynamite comes from. All right, I lose to you and then you're still not cleared. What does that do for the story? Now it also makes sense because we heard back then that was Mox's idea.
I think we did. Yeah.
So it makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes sense now. So
I think I win this bet. So remember about a few months ago, the question came up, are we going to see Punk back in AEW?
Yes.
And both of y'all was like, yeah. He's going to be in AEW. And guess what? He ain't. Especially after he called out Jericho like that too.
He said he's a stooge.
And he's sending out legal letters. I didn't know we did that kind of stuff. I thought the moment legal letter was.
So you may be right on that. Time would tell, but you were absolutely wrong on Sasha Banks being number 30 at the Rumble. And we now know, without a shadow of a doubt, you and your friend Eshaun over there was 1,000% wrong about Bray Wyatt having the better comeback than my girl.
We not doing
MJ,
this.
Soraya.
You can't come on.
No. You
there
used
it
to.
is.
Man,
there it is.
Do you guys see?
There it is.
You, for instance, you see how stubborn Matt is because he's changing the narrative. He's changing the story.
I don't think so.
And he's still wrong. Because
Bray is hurt, right?
Bray's hurt, and he can be rehabilitated.
They're saying he's hurt,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's something more to it because people are being real quiet on it. So hopefully, everything's good with him. So if it's not, thoughts and prayers. But I don't think it's an injury.
I hope they got insurance on his contract.
I think it's something else. Yeah, I think it's something else for sure. Let's go to Vikingo. So, breaking news just 30 minutes ago on Twitter, Tony Khan tweeted out, Vikingo is coming back to AEW next Friday, live on pay-per-view for Ring of Honor, where he is fighting Commander. It's a big deal for the AAA Mega Championship.
Yeah. AAA Mega Championship.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's a big deal. Very
Wow.
big deal. I am sure that they have just secured some more buys for Ring of Honor next Friday. A lot of people had not seen Vikingo before last night. It's always cool. Like, I kind of like compare it to musicians, or even like back in the day, old school NXT, right? Where you were able to see that person before they became a star. And you can say like, hey, I was on that person since day one. You know, I'm like that, like with Lil Wayne. You know, people think like Lil Wayne started at the Carter 3. It's like, no, you don't remember Block is Hot, Lil Wayne in 1999 with Cash Money. Like, I was there for Lil Wayne back then, or whoever, you know, Usher, you know, My Way. Like, no, he didn't start with Confessions. Like, he had multiple albums before that. And kind of the same thing with Vikingo. So to be able to see him in front of a large, excuse me? Say it again.
Sorry.
Ma'am?
We talking about Rhodesia.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead though. Okay. I just want to let people know that.
Got you. So it was cool to see him, you know, get a lot of attention, positive attention last night against Kenny Omega. Kenny's a dog. Like, he is so good at what he does. But I thought the match was great. Thought it was a real highlight for both of them to be in there. I think, that was the first time you've seen Vikingo, at least for sure, probably the first time you've seen one of his matches in totality. What was your thoughts on him?
Yeah, that was the first time I've heard of him this more recently. I know you mentioned him at the Warrior show you went to, but I had never seen his work. Yeah, and he was really good. A lot of bounce to his step. Man, like those, it kind of makes me want to watch more Lucha. When you know, like Ray, Commander, like these springboards and way these guys walk the ropes. I would love to see a full match of that. I know it's a totally different style of wrestling, and it kind of isn't my cup of tea typically, but I would love to see more of that style. I thought he was pretty good.
Rhodesia, this is your style. You are all about high spots, and
move
flips,
at the move, boom.
and death-defying moves. Of course, you've seen it before, but what'd you think?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. And again, to your exact point, you kind of feel like I knew about them before other people knew about them. But in reality, people knew about Vikingo before I knew about them. But it does feel a little bit good inside. Like, yep, I know how you wrestle. I've seen him wrestle before. But amazing. And then to know that they're on this stage and this is the first time that they met, them being Kenny and Vikingo, and that they put on, you know, when you have a wrestling match with somebody and you're in that main event spot and you have to like bring the show home, there is some pressure that's there. And just some of the moves that he did last night or on Dynamite is just like, how did you even first start to think about doing that move? Like her Karanas when he flips midair and catches him on the way down, like those kind of things. And then for Kenny to be able to take it. And again, we can't, you know, and you mentioned it already with Kenny, he is amazing. His facials, how his psychology in the ring, and this guy can go in those V triggers that he gave to men. That was super, super sick. And then the big picture of it all, just like how AEW started and how AEW ended, we see some mastermind working happening with Mr. Don Callis. Do we not? Do we not see what he's trying to do here? He's trying to divide and conquer and keep Kenny off.
I ain't like
himself.
that shit. I don't like
Really?
that shit.
That's the
I thought
point.
that
That's
shit
the
was corny.
But that's the
No,
point.
I thought it was corny. I thought it was
That
corny.
is the absolute point. That's the absolute point. He took out Nick and Matt at the beginning of the show, and then what did he do? He's making it look like Hangman did that to him.
No,
I love it.
He took a
shit was
perfect
corny.
flat back
Hey,
kick for no reason.
Hold up. He
thought
did.
it was so
Hey, that shit. Hey, that would have been, that angle was a perfectly old school angle that would have worked like 20 years ago.
I love
you
it.
mean tell me that Kenny between Wednesday and right now he ain't go back and see that?
Maybe
Like, we gonna pretend like.
And you need to tune in to Rampage to see if he
There
did.
we go. There we go.
But here's the thing. So we gonna escalate the whole thing that quickly? That was corny.
I loved
man.
it. I absolutely loved it. I loved it. Because Don he's the most evilest snake that there is, but he loves his Kenny. He'll do anything for Kenny.
And it was really cool too, because on Being the Elite on Monday, if you guys didn't see it, just real quick. So we know, of course, this whole thing is just to get Hangman back with the Elite. So I think it was Matt, started a text thread back with the Elite, including Hangman. It was like, hey, just want to get the band back together. Hangman responds. As soon as he responds, Kenny leaves the message. And you see it, like Kenny, I forgot what it says on the iPhones, like Kenny, whoever leaves. So that's where it's building to. We know it's kind of building to Hangman and Omega. And I do want to shout AEW out for completely rehabbing Hangman from where he was before. He's back. So
yes, he is.
We give him a lot of shit for what they did to Warlow, and I'm still worried about my boy Warlow and some other things. But when they do something right, of course, we got to shout him out. So I am happy for that. So we'll see how that plays out. But Don Callis definitely is trying to get Kenny back on the dark side and get him far away from
that
the
was
Bucks.
corny.
I loved it.
You should have fast forward through, like you fast forward through all the corny stuff on Raw. Then you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Hey, you know what? If Naomi can tell me, like, because that kind of ruined like that segment for me. Yeah, if Naomi can tell me, I kind of ruined, because I was like, that was a really good match. I like the intent. I like the intent, but the execution, like, man, you can't. Don, you supposed to be the smartest dude in the company. You don't. What you gonna do? You gonna take all of Kenny's TVs? You gonna get rid of social media? Like, what? How is he not gonna see exactly what you did in that moment? Like 20 years ago, that would have worked, because we didn't know what these guys were doing. Like, we didn't know they watched TV. We didn't know they didn't have social media back in the day. It all made sense. But like, come on now, in 2023, nah, man.
He's Nick Picky Jones right here.
I love it.
No, that's not nitpicky. Like, I can't.
I can't believe
so hard. We can say that about We can say that about every storyline in the history of wrestling.
See, you finicky ass. No. I'm gonna go to small. You finicky ass fans.
Is the only person.
Matt wanna crap on Cody.
Everything. No other wrestler. No other wrestler talks about anything else that we see on TV except for Kevin Owens.
No. Y'all finicky fans want to talk about Cody and all this other stuff, but we see an obvious corny storyline. We can't say that was corny. I get you like the matches.
It was great. It was a masterpiece.
That was 5 seconds of a piece. So
it
wasn't corny at all.
That's a masterpiece.
Barbecue masterpiece.
Yep.
FTR contracts. Allegedly, if you want to believe them, their contracts are up in April.
Wait, why'd you say if you want to believe them?
Because you may think they've already re-signed with AEW.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Going with the storyline. But contracts are up in April. We saw the stipulation last night against the Gun Club that if they lose, they're leaving the AEW. Where do you guys think they'll end up? And where do you guys want to see them end up? Those could be two totally different answers.
I'm going to just be short with this. I want to see them in AEW, and I think they're going to end up in AEW. I don't think that FTR will be truly appreciated if they went back to WWE. Now, I know that they've built so much equity in their brand and their tag team, so going to WWE, they can leverage that. But the fans themselves, I don't think they're going to appreciate them the way that AEW fans would. So I want to see them in AEW, and I want them to go to AEW. Like you said, if they haven't re-signed already.
Okay. Do you think they've re-signed already?
Considering I didn't even know their contract was up, I'm going to say yes, because I think Tony's probably has learned in the past about having somebody maybe pass their contract. I didn't know what Cody was on from a whole month without a contract or something like that. So I'm going to say that they're probably already resigned. But it's interesting with the whole Punk thing coming out because I think they're like BFFs, or at least in the wrestling world, they're BFFs. So that kind of leads me to think like, okay, well, they will leave AEW. But at the end of the day, I think money talks. So they'll stay there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys followed Dax's podcast. You guys listen to it at all?
No.
I'm a big Dax fan. I like him. He's seemed like a very earnest and honest guy. You guys should probably go out of your way. Maybe I'll send you guys some clips of his podcast. He lets a lot of information about backstage stuff, about how he feels about his AEW experience, his WWE experience, his NXT experience. For instance, he talks about the Pinnacle and how he feels like the company dropped the ball at the Pinnacle. He kind of talks about how he and MJF kind of fell out a little bit because of it. But you can tell he's a very emotional man. He's talked about it. And he seems like a very earnest and honest person. And online, he's telling us like, hey, I don't want you guys to, be disappointed about what decision we make, if we go or if we stay, right? He feels like either way, people aren't going to be happy. And if he's already signed, I kind of feel like he's doing the Carney thing of like, hey, I'm trying to work the people again, like into thinking that, I'm leaving when I'm staying, right? Like, so I like to say that maybe he hasn't made the decision yet, but at the same time, I'm a business person. I don't know if I'm Tony Khan, if I'll put FTR on my TV, if they're not back, or maybe he wants to put them on, put them on the TV so they can give the rub to the Guns.
Yep, there you go.
And get them out of there, right? So I like to believe in Dax that, hey, Dax, he's not working, right? He's not working. He's honest. And maybe he's on his way out. And to be honest with you, I like for him to leave. I like to see the FTR go back to WWE, kind of revitalize and as they are the revival, revitalize that tag team division. Because the Usos is at the head of this thing, and then like it's a drop off after that. Like they're holding down, they're the pinnacle, no pun intended, of tag team wrestling in WWE. It'd be nice if they had somebody to kind of feud with, and then maybe they can build up that tag team division. Triple H seems like he's been very into tag team wrestling. He's been a fan of FTR, or the revival, as they say. I like to see him go there. I feel like FTR has been kind of spinning the wheels in AEW for a while. I don't know why. Definitely, I feel like right now they have a stronger division. But you wouldn't, if you watch the shows, I don't feel like they really showcased the tag team division as they should recently outside of the Acclaim. And I feel like they dropped the ball a little bit with the Acclaim. Like we can talk about it now, we talk about it later. I think the Guns are the worst tag team champions in recent memory right now. I think they haven't done anything to build them up as credible champions. I don't care if they win or lose, to be honest with you. I feel it's a waste because I feel there's a lot of potential with that package, but they haven't really did it for me. So that's my answer.
Which is what?
I said I want to see him go.
Okay, so you want to see him go. Do you think they're going?
As I said, like, hey, if I think that Dax has it. I think if he had signed, I think he would be tipping it. I don't think he would tip his hat so heavy. Like, people are gonna, because if he stays at AEW, I don't think anybody's gonna care one way or another if he stays. But I feel like it would be a bigger uproar if they leave. Right? It'd be kind of like similar like a Cody situation if he were to leave. So I think maybe he might be on his way out. I like to see him on his way out.
So okay, so I know you want to see him on his way out, but do you think they are leaving? Yes or no?
Damn, yeah.
Okay. I don't think they're leaving because AEW title is the only title they haven't won. Right? Haven't they won all the other belts but the AEW belts?
Oh, they had the AEW title.
Oh, no, they did. I'm thinking when they had all three, they didn't have the AEW belts. Right. On one hand, you can say, hey, they're back just to put the Gun Club over, but I think the Gun Club has the belts, so FTR beats them. I think that's why they actually beat the Acclaim. I don't think you do Acclaim versus FTR. That's the whole point of this whole situation, is for them to win their belts back. So I think that they will be back. Do I want them in WWE? I go back to what I said earlier. I don't want to do the whole, well, if Vince comes back, if Triple H is involved. If Triple H was 100% in the top in creative and there was no Vince McMahon ever, then yes, I would like to see them in WWE. But we know that's not the case. We just don't know how much Vince has input on creative. But I think we know he has some sort of input. And I would be scared to see the Revival back up under Vince again. So that's my answer. An answer that I would love to get your guys' thoughts on. Goldberg in All Elite Wrestling. It was announced this week that his contract was up in January with WWE. They could not come to a new agreement, so he is a free agent. He's been a free agent for a couple months. I put a poll up on Twitter and just said, pretty simple, Goldberg and AEW. Even if it's just for one match, thumbs up or thumbs down. It started out 100% thumbs up. It was 2 votes, right? It quickly moved to 50-50, and it finished at 77% no, 23% yes. The comments were pretty funny on that poll. Shout out to everybody that voted and then left comments on that poll. I'll ask you guys. It could be in any way. It could be, we heard Goldberg said he wanted a retirement match. It could be a short-term deal. It could be a long-term deal. Just yes or no, and of course, give your reasons why. Would you want to see Goldberg in AEW?
No. And he can have his retirement match in Saudi Arabia under WWE. And I actually read your Twitter question wrong. Once I saw, do I want to see Goldberg in AEW? The first thing I said was no. I didn't even realize that you had asked more if it was for just one, even for just one match. I probably still would have said, well, I didn't say no. What I said was you should have had a third option of I don't care. I think that probably would have been more appropriate for me. I don't really care. I mean, I thought he retired already. I thought he's been inducted into the Hall of Fame. I thought that we were already done with Goldberg. I don't know why I feel like I'm a Goldberg hater for some reason. He must have did something to me in the past that I don't like him, but I'm over Goldberg. I don't know why, but I'm over him. So no, and I don't care.
Yeah, I don't want to see him. And why? Because I don't like him no more.
Why don't you like him? Because it might be the same reason why I don't like him. Why don't I like Goldberg? Do either one of you know?
No, so for me, man, like, look, Goldberg is darn near 60. He can't have good matches, right? And all you're gonna see is him hit a good spear, maybe, and him 50% of the time hit a decent jackknife. That's it. Like, I don't want to see that in AEW. I don't see that in AEW. Who's gonna I don't know who they're gonna feed him that are gonna make him look strong, because the only way to feature Goldberg is have him run through everybody.
Right.
That's it. I don't want to see Goldberg in them 30-minute AEW Broadway matches. Like, it's not gonna be good for anybody. Like, let that man sit off to the. I don't really want to see AEW sign anybody else. I want them to focus on the talent they have.
Okay, so you say no. Rhodesia says no.
And I don't care. No, and I don't care.
When I first made, well, if you don't care, then you're indifferent. So it means maybe. It could be maybe. When I first made that poll, it was 100% absolutely not. It would be a thumbs down. Then I started thinking more, and I didn't vote on the poll. Then I'm watching Dynamite last night, and I'm watching Sting.
Not fair, because I actually I have a retort to that. Go ahead.
Who is 64 years old. And on my poll, I said, even if it's just for one match, give me Goldberg back on TNT for one match. I don't care who it's against. None of that. I would have faith in AEW that they would do the legends right. They've done every other legend right. Arn Anderson, when he was on TV, was presented fantastic. Sting is doing the damn thing every time we see him. I would assume, even if it's a 2-minute match, they would highlight what we would want to see one last time for Goldberg. And I think business sense, it probably makes sense. If you can promote a match for Goldberg, either on TV or pay-per-view, as his final retirement match, I think that absolutely gets eyeballs on that product. I think 100% it does. So, no, I would never want to see him on a long-term deal. I would never want to see him wrestling 10-minute, 15-minute matches. But get in, get out, have this whole thing of, hey, he's back on TNT for the first time since Nitro and all that kind of stuff. I think that would be okay.
Well, I'm glad you landed on okay.
And that'll be where I will leave it at.
And I do want to mention Sting. He is an exception to the rule. He impresses me, and I use the word impress every time I see him in a match. Like, wow. So he's a complete exception to the rule, and don't compare Goldberg to Sting.
Hey, shout out the singer Sting. I googled Sting age. Sting, the singer, 71 years old.
Woo!
And shout out to Libras too. He's born October 2nd, 1951. And I had to put in wrestler. And Sting is 64.
Wow, 64.
Still rocking it.
And again, to your point there, Sting is like when we see him in WWE currently is usually in Saudi. And so, he's bringing in a lot of money. So for sure, for AEW business sense, that would probably bring in a ton of cash for them. I just don't really care for it. So I'm still going to say thumbs down, up between thumbs up, thumbs down. But because that ship has sailed for me with Goldberg. And I still don't know why I don't like him. I think it had something to do maybe with him and Seth. Did he say that maybe Seth was dangerous?
His matches were horrible. Like,
but it was something else that I don't like. Him for.
He would come back out of nowhere and somehow get a title shot.
Maybe that's what it felt like.
Yeah, and we knew what it was. Yeah, that's why.
It was a money grab, maybe, I think. So, and I could appreciate he wanted to have one more run for his kid. That's sweet. But then he came back again and again. Like, your kid saw you already on the first. Let me stop.
His kid's no longer small either. Google some photos of his kid.
I bet he's huge, like older wise. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an athlete.
I wonder if he's gonna get into business. I wonder if he's gonna get into wrestling.
Yeah, I know he's playing some type of sport. I'm not sure exactly what it is though.
He'd be good.
But yeah, I think so. So you just said he'll be good. I guess let's talk about it. What the opposite of good was. AEW ran their house show last weekend, which shout out to them again. I think they almost had about 4,000 people down at the house show. I think it was like 3,700 people. It looked fantastic. It looked super cool and fun. So I know I got to get out to one of the shows. Hopefully they bring one in our area. I think we talked about it a few weeks ago, just about how much fun live events are compared to, TV. But there was some footage on social media from a match with Britt Baker and Anna Jay, and it did not paint those ladies in a great light. The video, I think, is pulled down now, but it was up over the weekend. If you guys did not see it, it was pretty rough. It was a lot of 1-2 step, slow moves, missing moves. Now, it was somebody cut it, so it wasn't the entire match. So who knows if they just took all the good parts out, but I do know if that match was the way it was presented from what we saw online, it would probably be the worst match I would have ever seen live. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, you know the inner workings of wrestling. We know that live events, house shows, whatever you want to call it, are the big priority is to get the talent work, get them working with their opponents. A lot of times it is setting up future pay-per-view matches. So they'll go on the road and try things out. Hey, what gets a reaction? What works? What doesn't work? They'll tweak things, and then we see the finished product on television. My question, though, is, so we knew that's why we were excited for the house shows. Months ago, when I talked about them doing house shows, I said this is going to help the talent tremendously, and they're going to get better. But to put that match in front of the paying customers, some people could say that you can't do that. Some people would say, hey, it's par for the course. It is what it is. What side of the coin do you guys lean on? Rhodesia, I know you didn't get a chance to see it, but imagine the worst match you could see, and you're paying to see it. Missed spots, slow spots, looks like they're moving 30% speed and not 100% speed. Is that okay because it's a house show, quote unquote, live show? Or do you say that's not okay and they got to work on that before they even get to the live event?
It's hard to answer that fully without actually seeing it, but it's par for the course. That is the exact reason why we have house shows. I'm surprised that Dr. Britt Baker was in a match that was like that. I don't know if they ever really wrestled each other before now. That could also have a lot to do with it, but par for the course. That is what a house show is for. It sucks for the people that was there, and then hopefully just being there and getting the energy of that live event, that maybe they didn't feel that bad about it. And maybe they was like, okay, that match kind of sucked, but not kind of like us who haven't felt that energy being there. But par for the course.
Man, you guys remember that Charlotte Flair and Shotzi match from SmackDown?
Just a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Right? You see how like that match was like stuck in like first gear for like minutes, right? And it seemed like Charlotte was trying to slow way down for Shotzi. Like it's just the Hurricanranas it looked like the rolls, like these safe rolls she was making. It didn't look competitive. Like the match was in slow motion. This might be a victim of nowadays when like a lot of wrestlers, they call everything backstage and they're trying to remember all their spots, right? Because you got to think about it. Like, I don't think that these girls went in front of that crowd to say, hey, this is our training match. I think they went out there to bust their asses and put on the show. Now, when you got Anna Jay, who is, I think she's probably as old in the business as AEW has been around. I think she just started maybe a few months before AEW started, or maybe a few months after AEW started. So she doesn't have a lot of ring time, right? She's been injured. I think she's been out for over a month, right? So this might have been one of her first match or two back, right? Now, training and actually being in the ring is a different animal, right? And here's the honest truth about Britt. Like, I think Britt, I'm not going to say wrestling is her weakest thing, but it's not what I love her for. I love her for her personality. I love her promo, her charisma. I love her as a character. Her wrestling is fine, right? So you got Britt, in a ring with somebody who's still brand spanking new in the business, who's been injured, who's just coming back. That stuff's going to happen. So I don't think that they're going in front of this crowd as a training match. I think they just had a bad night. I feel like it was off. I feel like that video was clipped. Or it could have been the whole match. It could have been. But at the end of the day, I don't think that was
clipped. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that they went into that to have it. I don't think any of these guys are going out there saying, hey, you know what? Let's just go out here and train. I think they're going out there to bust their ass and give it the best show that they can give. And that type of stuff happens when you got new wrestlers out there. I feel like, look, that's what we do on Twitter. That's what we do, with the wrestling community. If we see something, we blow it to be more than what it is. I feel like just an off night for those ladies. I think the next matches they have would be even better. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it. When I saw it, I hated it. Like, and of course it was only reason why I'm bringing it up is because that is pretty newsworthy, right? To what we're talking about with the development of talent and house shows and such. But the account was an account that, makes fun of, messed up moves and botches. I hate people like that. So that's where it came from.
That's negative.
They were attacking them. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think that speaks more to to answer my own question. I think it's okay as long as it doesn't happen again. I think maybe a bigger question should be, or maybe the bigger issue is, how trained are we before we get to TV? Anna Jay's been on TV for like 3 years. If she was someone who just showed up on TV a couple months ago and that happened, okay. But when that happens and you've been on TV for years, why are you on TV already? If there was one thing that I could change about AEW, even above some of the head-scratching booking decisions, it would be do not show up on television until you are ready to go. I know they don't have a training facility. I get that. They don't have a PC. They don't even have something like, NXT. But when we see people like Anna Jay, which I love me some Anna Jay, but we see her, like I said, 3 years ago, and we see her, she wrestled a match with Jade a few months ago, and I was like, ooh, somebody's regressing. This isn't as good as their first couple matches that they had. I just think there needs to be, once we see you on TV.
You talking about that pay-per-view match, right?
Yeah. It's like, once we see you on TV, hey, it's time to go now. It's time to move on. Get out there and do what you got to do. And a lot of times in AEW, we see somebody on television, and it's like, are they ready for TV? I'm not sure. And they'll be gone for months because maybe they're on Darker Elevation for a long time, and then we see them again. And it's kind of like, okay, they've gotten a little bit better since last time we saw them. And then they haven't, kind of, because you see them again. So that when I saw that, to me, it was more of, hey, that's the point of live events. That's why we should do it. But more importantly, hey, let's not put these folks on TV until they're ready. And they don't have to be 5-star generals, but no point of using them on TV if they're not ready, and then you have to work backwards to get them back to where they need to be in the first place. And I'm not saying that's what Anna Jay's thing is, but we see it kind of often in AEW. So that was my thoughts when I saw it.
But you think about it, staying with that Anna, like, you know, what Jay had 50. What is she on? 55-0, 56-0,
54 maybe.
53,
I thought she was 54.
Somewhere around there.
54.
And those are legit the matches that she's had like on TV or in AEW period, right?
In life, yeah.
So, like Anna probably has as many or maybe fewer matches on her belt, right? Because I don't think she's been on Dynamite wrestling as much as Jade. I think she's been on Dark a lot over the past couple of years. She doesn't have a lot of matches. That'd be interesting to look up. I don't feel like doing it right now.
Actually, I'm pulling it up now. Yep,
yeah, I don't think she has a lot of matches under her belt. And to your point, you know, but that's the thing. In wrestling, a lot of times you put people out there before they're necessarily ready to go.
According to this, she's worked 68 matches, 50 wins, 18 losses.
That sounds
probably right. on Dark
25 singles, 17 tags, 8 trios.
Yeah, she was on Dark a lot. She was on Dark a lot, but like, those matches are, especially the Dark matches,
2.5 minutes, squashes, get in, get out. Yep.
Get in, get out. And then, to be honest with you, like, I love Anna Jay too. I'm not gonna like, but she has like some signature spots, right? And I don't think her signature spots half the time look as sharp as they need to be. You know, but hey, one day she might be one of them girls that just gets it, right? And she
has
the
look.
Ring.
For sure,
definitely.
has the look. And the personality, and the personality.
Yep.
So
yeah. She absolutely has the look, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm done with AEW. I'm done with the show in general. Y'all got anything else you want to talk about before we get to the TFW moment of the week?
Let me talk to you guys about ROH real quick. Still watching this thing.
And I think I was like, you know, it's funny you bring this up, E. I'm gonna look. We'll do it probably the week after Mania. If you guys remember, the last episode of the year, 2022, one of my rapid fire questions was, which promotion are you going to be most excited to watch and most entertained by? I don't remember our answers, but I thought that would be fun. Hey, almost a quarter of the year has been put through already. What was those answers? I want to say, E, yours was ROH. I want to say that was what you said. So I just wanted to kind of set you up to talk about ROH real quick. Go ahead, my good man.
Yeah, I say all kinds of stuff that I don't be really meaning, but
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, but man, like I said, I was gonna give this show a shot.
This is week 3, right?
It's week 3, man. But like, here's the thing about the show. I feel like, man, like, what's Tony doing? I just feel like that man needs some help, man. I know he probably has QT and he has Sanjay, I heard, and somebody else he kind of uses, but I feel like he needs some help in that creative department. I feel like that man is spreading himself too thin, because I don't understand the business model and what ROH is trying to go after. To me, honestly, ROH is like AEW, like darkest. That's what it is to me, because like it's the same challenge you see on AEW, Dark or Dynamite or whatever. You see them on ROH, right? You see a couple of ROH guys exclusively, like Shane just popped up, but we saw him on Dark, we saw him on AEW before.
Okay.
My man Silas, forgetting his name, the real man. Well, another ROH guy just popped up. So you might see some of those guys.
Yep.
Is Silas Young?
Mm-hmm.
Silas Young. Yeah, he just popped up. So you got a couple of those guys, Dalton Castle, but we've seen him on AEW. What I'm saying is that you've seen a lot of these guys on AEW programming, and you've seen them pretty consistently. They're world champions on Dynamite, Rampage all the time. They're pure champions on there all the time. Like, why as a fan do I need to pay $10 a month? And again, it's only $10, but here's the thing. Like, for me, I have like 1,000 subscriptions. Like, and I'm looking at cutting some of them because all of them are going up. Why do I want to spend $10 to see the same matches and same wrestlers that I can see for free on TBS and TNT or YouTube? Like, why do I want to pay $10?
So let me ask you, 2-part question. And this is not trying to be funny, but it's 3 weeks in. My first, I guess, question to you would be, what did you expect? You saw the ROH roster before, like, I just pulled it up on Twitter real quick and seeing the matches that they are announcing for tonight. And a lot of the matches have AEW talent with ROH talent, though. But what would you expect 3 weeks in?
Well, what I expected was a exclusive ROH show, not a AEW Dark show. What I'm saying is that I expected something. There's nothing different about ROH than I can catch on AEW. That's a disappointing thing. You know, like when Eddie Kingston's going on talking about, oh, I'm going to the ROH locker room because there's no politics or whatever. Like, no, it's the same. It's the same locker room with the same creative, with the same people booking it. Like, there's no different watching it. I was hoping that Tony Khan had a plan in place to make ROH a unique and different show. And I don't care if it's 3 weeks or 2 days in. I should be seeing the mission and the plan. In any business, that's what you'd be seeing. So I was hoping to see something different. That's what I was hoping to see, but I'm not seeing anything different. It's the same stuff I always see. But now I'm paying $10 to support it.
But see, looking at these matches, and granted, I haven't seen a whole show. I've only seen clips on YouTube or, on Twitter. And then I've seen every pay-per-view up to this point. But this is what I expected. Like when we talked weeks ago about, hey, are you going to get ROH? And I'm like, nah, I'm going to kind of wait a little bit. I knew what I was kind of getting. And I knew that just from even the ROH integration on AEW TV that I despised, that I thought took away so much from AEW. So I definitely understand what you're saying, E, but this is what I expected. So take away the AEW talent. All this is going to be is just even worse product. So, because I'm going to assume the AEW talent that's on this show, AR Fox, Samoa Joe, Brian Cage, Top Flight, Sky Blue, Christopher Daniels. Yeah, I'm looking at the matches they have announced for this week. Phoenix. I'm going to assume they are adding to the quality of the show, not degrading the quality of the show. So even if they would have went out and just signed 40 just ROH exclusive wrestlers, would you have rather had that and then the actual product in ring isn't good? Or if you had to take it as is right now, and then just say like, hey, if I catch it, I catch it. If I don't, I don't.
Well, before Tony bought ROH, they had a unique, different roster. And they had good wrestling matches. Now, we weren't watching it, but they had a unique presentation that was exclusive to ROH. Okay. So that's what I was hoping for, right? With a different creative take. However, we're getting the same creative take, and we're just getting AEW wrestlers onto and not even the top AEW talent, right? We're getting some of the guys that you don't see every week, some of the guys we're seeing on Dark. Some people they're building up. They had a match on the first show. One of their matches was Sky Blue and Madison Rayne versus the Renegade Twins.
Okay.
The Renegade Twins are, they're up and comers, right? But they've lost, I believe, every single match they were on Dark. I'm not sure if they've ever been on Rampage or Dynamite. They're up and comers.
I think they've been on both. You're talking about the Twins, right?
Yep, the Twins, and they lose every single match, right? And now we got against Sky Blue and Madison, who for the most part they don't have the great win and loss record, right? So there's that match. So there's a lot of those matches, and on their first show, like to me, like I don't know what the creative was in place for ROH to make a unique presentation. Maybe it wasn't to make a unique presentation, but if that wasn't the plan, then I don't know what they're doing. But I'm disappointed. I had hope. I wanted to support it to see it would be something that I can really watch, because I want to see more of Mark. But Mark pops up on the AEW shows, right? So if I guess I want to see Mark, I don't have to just pay $10 to see him every month. I can just he'll pop up on AEW every now and then.
Hey, yeah, ROH is a very niche show. I think it's for that segment that are just diehards of the diehards, or segments of people who don't watch WWE. Say if WWE was trash right now, you'd be like, man, ROH isn't the best, but it's wrestling, I'll take it. But seeing that WWE is doing some really good things, with the Bloodline and WrestleMania season, things of that nature, you're like, man, we don't really need this. But this, just like listening to you talk about ROH, this is kind of what I thought ROH would be, especially at the beginning. I want ROH to be the developmental brand of AEW, not completely. They're still going to do their quarterly pay-per-views. They still have a brand to uphold, because Ring of Honor used to have some of the best matches that you could, see bell to bell. So still keep some of that. But we talked about like Anna Jay last segment. Hey, maybe Anna Jay spends 6 months down in ROH, and she actually works with some of the more seasoned talent, and she gets time under, her belt. Maybe that's what I guess at the end of the day, what we'll see is what the buy rate looks like.
Well, that's a better idea of them being developmental. I'd rather be developmental than what it is right now, to be honest with you, because that'll make more sense. Because they'll put all the young people on there, mix them in with the ROH guys, and then boom, there you go. Right? I would love to see Anna Jay just wrestle exclusively on ROH so she can get better in the ring, so she can develop personality more, I should say, than what they're doing. Because like they're not even putting storylines half the time on this 2-hour show. Like I'm not really seeing a lot of storylines. It's just match. You see a couple backstage segments, match. And there's a storyline here and there, but it's not a story. It's not even a lot of storylines you can sink your teeth into. It's just, honestly, it's like it's AEW Dark Part 2. That's all it is right now.
So last question on this then. How long are you keeping it for? You give them another month?
I was just going to ask that.
That's last month.
This is it?
Yeah. That's it.
Sheesh. All right, then. Anything else you guys got?
Nope.
Bro, do you want to keep it rolling if you're going to go pee?
Yeah. Oh, so we started, it's funny, we started this entire episode talking about Eshaun's and my bladder. Rhodesia has sent 32 messages in the chat talking about wrap it up. I got to pee. Rhodesia, go ahead and sing your song so we can wrap it up.
I have never sung this song like with so much passion as I'm about to sing it right now. It's a TFW moment of the week. P.
If you guys do not know what the TFW moment of the week is, it is a moment we want to highlight. And what I'm going to try to start doing going forward is highlighting something that is obscure that we hadn't talked about. Last few episodes, I'm like, what we talked about earlier is my TFW moment of the week. So I'm going to try to make sure that whatever I pick, we haven't really talked about it yet. But it's a moment we just want to highlight. It could be anything wrestling related. If it's wrestling related, we can pick it. My TFW moment of the week for this week is that incredible, fantastic, beautiful looking SummerSlam logo that the WWE showed this week. If you guys do not know, the three of us are from Detroit, born and raised. We are no longer in Detroit now. But if you are from the D, you know that you just take pride in anything that's Detroit related, right? You would see us out with our D hats. You would see us out with our Detroit versus Everybody shirts. You would hear us talking about what up, though. We just have a thing about Detroit. If you are from Detroit, you feel it. And seeing that logo, if you guys don't know, the logo is out, and it is a mash of the Detroit Lions colors, the old Detroit Pistons flair. It even says in it, SummerSlam, it has Detroit right there. It looks and feels like Detroit. So I wanted to shout that out. I got all warm and fuzzy inside. I probably got a little weepy if I really started thinking about it. But I didn't get weepy. But I did want to shout that out as my TFW moment of the week. Rhodesia, what is yours?
So I'm going to stick with AEW. And this is going to be the in-ring debut and attempted retirement of Stokely Hathaway. So homeboy comes out with all his goons. Of course, they were banned from ringside, but he came out with them, had all that more support.
Farouk. Didn't he look like a skinny Farouk?
I didn't even think about Farouk, but you are absolutely right. He comes out, had all his moral support up there at the top of the rim for him. All of that. He gets in the ring. Homeboy tries to retire before he even starts. And of course, Hook wasn't having any of that. He was like, nope, he tore that butt up. And just for the simple reason why he tried to quit before he even started, somehow it kind of relates to me sometimes, the things that I do. I had to make that my TFW moment of the week. The attempted retirement on his in-ring debut, Stokely Hathaway.
Very nice.
Hey, let's stay with Farouk. Damn. Because that was my moment of the week. See, Rhodesia usually hits the group and lets everybody know what it was. And she ain't do it this week. So she took my thunder, all of it. But hey, let's just go back to and she didn't even know that he had a Farouk outfit on. Like, how do you not know that?
Yeah. So he didn't have the hat on. That's why. Or I don't think he had on a hat. He didn't have on a hat, I don't think. I don't remember. No,
he had a hat on. But hey, let's talk about that music. He came out with some hard music.
Oh, and he said line. Do you remember the line he said? Oh, snap.
He had a bunch of lines.
He's talking about Tupac. He was like,
oh,
Matt,
yeah,
you remember what he said?
Yeah. I ain't no killer, but don't push me.
That's Tupac. That's Tupac.
By the way.
That's Tupac, by the way. And I love that and a part of the 12 fans that he has, he thanked me, and I appreciated that. So that was my moment of the week, is when he thanked me as a fan.
Wonderful. Good stuff.
So, Eve, you actually watch more wrestling, you would be able to just pivot. If somebody takes your moment of the week, you can be like, oh, for Monday Night Raw, it was blah, blah, blah. But you fast forward through
No. I keep it real up in here. I ain't going to sit there and pull some stuff off my ass now, you understand? Just to...
Oh, man. All right, good stuff, guys. All right, well, we are out of here. Once again, next week, we are going to hit you guys with a full episode of the WrestleMania preview. Of course, if there's any major news, we'll hit on that. But we're going to go match by match, talk about, actually what we'll do, we'll revisit it. Sugar and shit, and then we'll kind of go over our predictions for the show. We will be dropping a couple days early next week, so lock in for that. If you have not already, please give us a follow on YouTube, and that's Freakin' Wrestling. Twitter, that's FNW, and of course, wherever you listen to podcasts, hit that follow button, support us, hit us up, check us out, give us likes, all that other kind of good stuff that people talk about. Type whatever down in the comments, and then when they all say, type down in the comments, we love all three of us. Type it in the comments. Thank you guys again. We will talk to you next week.